these fucking Neptune transits must be fucking putting my my subconscious or unconscious, I forget which one is more applicable to dreams in an outright way, like in just a really good mood, like some sort of real like ego serving situation. Okay, so let me see if I can remember enough little things, but I couldn't believe I was having this dream. In fact, I think a small part of me was going pretty lucid with it as I was kind of like feeling out the I am aspect of the situation I was dreaming myself in. And, I was effectively Paul Atreides. It wasn't like the most epic of situations, but it's one of the things that's so incredible about dreams. Like sometimes what you do in the dream isn't as impressive as as the role that you are, like the character that you are seeing yourself as in the situation anyway, because it fills you with a different sense of yourselfness. And this was a dream where I was effectively in the Dune universe. I was particularly I was basically kind of being shown around the Imperial mothership, if you will, right? Like, I don't know the books very well, but because I only know the movies and what I can vaguely fucking remember of the very successful Sci-Fi Channel series. I will eventually get my hands on Dune and fucking read it and get through more of it. That's been on my list for a while, but it's low on my budget. Low priority for my budget. But I was on something that would be akin to like the Super Star Destroyer, right? Like we're talking about like, this is the Emperor's super ship that when it can't be on the Imperial homeworld, and he's got to go places. I'm just saying that what it was bigger than the Imperial ship that you see in the movies. This was much more, like I said, like Super Star Destroyer. This thing is not landing on a planet, right? It's one of those things. And so I'm being like shown little aspects of this ship, and I've got like an entourage of like friends who are like my Imperial Council or something, small entourage. And there's some sort of conflict occurring, like some sort of it's like palace intrigue is like breaking out on the ship, kind of like a less violent kind of version of the Harkonnen insurgency within the city, where House Atreides steps in for the Empire in Dune. And so while I'm at it, I think I've got like a bunch of people that are trying to keep me away from issues or whatever. And I think I remember seeing this one. There's this one shot in that happened in the dream that I remembered very well because it put me in a sense of, oh man, I would hate it if that happened to me. And so I was seeing like one of these guys who I think was someone I knew and liked, who's part of this council, and they had somebody had gotten him in a position where he was on his knees with kind of like his hands kind of splayed backwards, so where like his chest is kind of out like this, and then there was like and in that position there was a this high-tech looking like encasement, shaped in that position. It was basically designed to be like if there's such a thing as a handcuffs, this was like a U-cuff. It's just like this was putting him in a coffin where you're in that posture and you can't move because it's like a suit around you, right? And then it closes like as if hermetically fucking sealing it. And in the deep of my psyche, it was just like, oh my god, what happened? Just no, we got to get him out of there. That's fucking terrible, right? And so there was that, and then there was this other moment just before I woke up, which seemed to involve me kind of coming into confrontation, and but this was kind of a very weird asymmetric kind of confrontation, which then turned into, I don't know, it was it's just like, I don't want to say it was like some sort of technology like the pain box for the Gom Jabbar, but I felt this tiny bit of pain, and then there were these large kind of needly screw type of things like this that it kind of looked like they were trying to like hurt me with them in like a torture kind of situation, and then my mind's eye kind of switched to kind of seeing what looked like these faces in a wall that had like the needles coming out of there, going, twisting into those faces, and some anguishing pains, and these faces were a bit warped, as if they were like artistic for, like if you saw like a thing in like in like a horror movie. The faces weren't scary, but it made you upset because it looks like, oh, what wretches became these faces on this wall kind of thing, where they're kind of devoid of a personality and they're just expressions of anguish. And then it was roughly there that I woke up, and despite those two things, there were other little things that were going on throughout the dream, where overall the energetic experience felt good. Right? Because there was just that vibe about it. There was just that vibe about it, and I believe that I was not. I think I overcame whatever was supposed to happen to me personally, right? So I mean, so it even had it had a thematic beat in that sense to the story of Paul in Dune, right? Even though it was completely unique events. And this is coming right on the heels of yesterday, because yesterday I had the other dream, the G.I. Joe Cobra District 10 dream thing, which was also a similar kind of abstraction. All right. So, this has me waking up and just like I'm feeling good because despite everything, I'm just like, motherfucker, I was Muad'Dib. I'm Muad'Dib, right? So I'm in an emperor's state of mind. I'm always in an emperor's state of mind. I'm fucking Aries with Leo midheaven, with all sorts of bullshit in that Leo. But my dreams have given me a little bit of an ego trip today. I must be wise and humble with my ego trip, and just allow it to be the self-love experience that it is. Because I'm about to go work for fucking semi-fair pay in a warehouse where I'm not in charge of anything but myself. So this is like, this might even be like the third dream I've had this week as such. But I don't have a good enough recall of what the first dream was. I just have these last two. So I didn't really make a report because there was nothing really to report. I just know I had one, right? But either way, I haven't had dreams that had such a strong vibe to them in a while, and very reminiscent of how I dreamed things in 2012, which were very, that was what I call my superhero phase, right? I was in a dreamscape of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that was also mixed with the issues of the alien agenda, right? It's part of the reason why, like, I don't know what to say about half of what it comes out of Daryl Anka's mouth when he's Bashar. But there is a truth in resonance to what Daryl Anka is saying in that character. Whether that character be truly this or that, I've had certain dreams, and maybe that's just part of how they fucking get you. Like maybe maybe this is just a sophistication of the deep state, and I'm exposed to it, but I am above foolish influence, right? Because I can imagine the idea of being incepted with these delusions of grandeur through, your love of following this stuff, right? Part of feeding the new age deceptions and things like that. And being wise is remembering that you don't know enough practical things in life to be able to run with any of that stuff. I think that it's perfectly okay that you end up getting filled with that stuff. I think it's great that it makes you feel good. I think that it is even greater still that you don't take it too fucking seriously. At least not until you've let time pass for affirmations. I mean years. Considering the level of which there are implications. Why the fuck am I dreaming that I'm a goddamn emperor of the known universe? Talk about Jungian grandiosity. Listen to some Robert Moore about grandiosity, for fuck's sake. Right? But truths about things like your psychological archetype of the dragon, you you are the dragon when you defeat the dragon, and yada yada yada. And many of us need that. I mean, like, some of us may in fact be built for a more grandiose thing, right? Possibly. It depends on how much of a cynic you want to be, right? You can be an extreme cynic because, well, you know, we live and we see most of our absolutely promoted people of wealth and power in the world are typically selected and have nothing to do with their own power, right? I can't even say that, you know, Donald Trump made him who he is, you know? I mean, everybody understands his father. Everybody understands what his father gave him as an investment. An investment, right? You know, like I'll say this much, as it's understood, it's just like, yeah, there was the, you know, Donald Trump had the exquisite position in his youth of $1 million loan from his father, not $1 million fucking like bailout gift, not $1 million here, you're gonna need this because you suck, my son. It was just like, you've got what it takes to make the money, my boy. So I'm gonna trust you with this, right? And maybe it's because Don was just a good fucking kid, or whatever, right? And you know, that's the narrative, and that doesn't mean, just because it's a narrative doesn't mean that it's not true. Are you merging? What are you doing? I'm gonna pass you. We're gonna fucking merge. Fucking took your ass long time to merge. Alright, anyway. You know, because for someone like me, my greatest concern is going too far in the opposite toxic direction. They make it very safe in this world to be toxically humble, to be toxically selfless, right? To the point where you don't know whether that person is just being a fucking narcissist who happens to also just be a fucking loser. You know, this kind of thing, right? Because I was kind of an out-of-control kid, and the environment and what my parents thought was right and what they thought they had no control over, you know, fed me with an incredible amount of childlike arrogance and insecurities and everything else. And so I was forced into a fearful of life position, a destructive to development position. You know, and who I am now, that many of you are now fucking interested in what's on my fucking mind and what I can fucking produce. I had to learn all sorts of levels of self-fucking belief to go into this fucking place. And whatever is meant for me in the hardwire of myself is why I have gone between, like, being somebody completely into other people that are doing great things and greater than me and yada yada yada, and why like I toot my own horn in many ways and come at you and speak from certain confidences and authorities and everything else. But at the same time, I can't fucking, it's just, at the same time, it's just a matter of you can either be wrong or you cannot fully defend why you're right. And those are enough things for why everybody is wiser to be humbler and as careful with their words as possible. It's just an aspect of the wisdom, right? To be confident and wise, is the wisdom holds back the confidence from toxifying into arrogance, right? But every once in a while, your psyche needs to be the guy that hears something wrong, and in your personal convictions it's wrong, and you gotta say, no, that's wrong, right? And you might be wrong about it being wrong, but you had a noble intention in saying that. And for the most part, you're just saying it, you're discussing it, you're gauging what it means to not have a good answer to somebody who's arguing with you when you fucking do speak up and decide to take the bold position as such. Ultimately, because you ultimately are just, you just gotta operate from the I amness of it, right? And what is not I am, because I am not you. But you, in my awareness, perhaps in my presence, is aspected as a reflection. You're still not me, but I am seeing the reflection of myself, and how much I like you or whatnot is going to be dependent on that, on how much reflection there is. When I meet strangers whom were not under some common guise, right? Like you can make fast friends if you do things like you go to conventions, because you're all there for the same thing. You go to a concert, right? You at least know that you can talk about the bands that are playing, right? If I'm gonna go see like 3 bands in a show, and perhaps I don't like the headliner, but I paid that fucking money to see the supporting act, I am going to be kindly for the environment I've put myself in, and be like, and respect other people's opinion of their love for this band that I think is complete shit, right? And so even that does something that brings people together by just the merit of that. See, I left early enough to beat construction, so I didn't have to wait in traffic, so now I'm here early, because construction hasn't started yet on the goddamn highway. So it's annoying. I have to get up a half an hour early for the moment because of this stuff. Unless that's done already, but I still saw cones. When I pass, next time I pass that underpass, if I don't see cones, I may go back to sleeping the other way. And getting that extra half an hour, and staying up a half an hour later to enjoy my evenings. But, you know, it's the weekend, so 5 o'clock will come. And then I can be the emperor of my own little world. All right. So I have been so I can't help it if in my heart I feel like I am meant for more. Oh jeez. Let's go. There's these two stupid fucking parts of this trip where I gotta fucking cross over 2 lanes really fucking soon while going at a certain fucking speed. It's kind of a ridiculous aspect of the commute. Alright, come on. Alright. Which probably isn't so bad if it weren't fucking rush hour. But anyway. So it's a condition of being human. It's a condition of what we are with our souls. That it's like this. You know, we listen to the general of the human heart, right? It's there's the commands of the human heart, right? And to lie to your heart and to disobey your heart or to ignore your heart are some of the absolute worst things you can do for all aspects of your selfness, of your you know, of your health, of your state of mind. We're living in a troubling time in this respect. And seeking that transformation from within, it makes the difference. It makes all the difference. It's something that is not seen by others, is not understood. It is, and if they hear about it from someone like me, they can't register it as anything more than an unattainability, right? Because it takes getting so goddamn fucking... It takes really going into the hard places, and you had to be in a hard spot. Like, I was in a very good environment, but filled with all the manner of my cultural distractions and inabilities of those who raised me, right? And certainly when you're exploring things outside of your culture, perhaps you don't feel like, perhaps you don't have a culture where you're raised, or your culture failed you. I could have lived my life under the Italian Catholic Northeasterner kind of culture, and picked my liberal to conservative spectrum, in which is inherent in that. And maybe would have been okay, but I would have been missing out on something so goddamn special as a human experience if I hadn't tried and pursued it. And it's so hard to explain to people, because if they ask you outright about that, I don't know where the fuck to begin in a manner that conveys the deep internal personal significance, right? So it makes it hard for me to inspire the profane in that respect. This is why I listen to things that may be quote unquote beneath me. I'm trying to listen to people that are on different levels of the conversation, see how they convey experiences on their part. What is the greater? What is the lesser? Right? How do I bridge between the profane and the divine in cognition, right? And what I know is that despite not having read the books yet, is that this is basically exactly the character that Frank Herbert created for Paul Atreides, right? I've listened to interviews where he talks about the whole bit about what it takes to do good, to do the right thing, and yada yada yada, and dealing with difficult situations, going through the rationalization process, dealing with your own failures, dealing with your failures as a father, right? From what I understand about, I think, Children of Dune, whatever the sequel is, when Paul's children come in, I think maybe one of them is like a tyrant or something. Like, from what I understand, one of the bad guys is one of Paul's sons, right? And that's a beautifully tragic story to tell, right? And how many of us, me not one of them, I don't have children, how many of us out there are parents, and they're good people, but somehow they couldn't raise, they raised their kid and he made horrible decisions, decided to have a horrible state of mind, and why didn't he do for himself well, right? I never went dark side, but I know I at least have disappointed my father being where I am at this point. I don't even like, there's plenty of things I don't like. Like, if I don't have kids, therefore My sister is the source of the next generation. I'm not the source of the next generation yet, I suppose. I say yet. You know? I don't know. My heart needs something, and I don't know where to find that love, and I am not worthy of the family making that family yet. Right? And so, those are plenty of reasons why I need to be humble and not let dreams like this go to my head. Not to let my grandiosity take over. But you still need some grandiosity because it's self-love, it's confidence boosting, right? It's knowledge of self-worth. Very real things, because we're going to, we're going to really fall into nihilist depressions if we don't have anything like that. You have to balance out that kind of self-love with also, I don't know, harsh reality. I'm struggling to find the word for it. So anyway, thanks guys for listening in. I will I'll catch you later.